Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to week 36 here on the 52 Horrific Weeks in 1981 series. I am your host, of course, Mood616, and thank you once again for joining me here. Alrighty, so, yeah, very excited about this one today. Like I did in all the previous weeks, put the films into the randomizer, hit that random button, and bam, The Burning came up. Now, I do apologize to the people that picked The Burning for the 50-second review, but it's all random, can't help it. But yeah, I was excited because it just gave me another excuse to watch the Scream Factory edition of it, so... yeah, I mean, The Burning is basically one of those classic slasher films that, you know, most people have seen. But for the people that haven't seen the film, I will break down the, you know, the plot to the film. It starts out at a camp called Camp Blackfoot. And there's some campers there, and they want to play a prank on the groundskeeper. The groundskeeper is like he's a mean person, he's grumpy, he's creepy, and he's a drunk, and he goes by the name of Cropsy. So one night, these kids kind of break into his cabin, and they play a prank on him. It goes horrendously wrong, of course. Cropsy catches on fire, and gets basically burnt up to a crisp. He does survive, though. They take him to a hospital, where he remains there for about 5 years, and then he gets released after about 5 years. And of course, Cropsy comes back, you know, basically for some revenge. So like I said, it's 5 years later, and by this time, Camp Blackfoot has actually been closed down for good. But he finds another place to go and attend, a camp called Camp Stonewater, where, of course, the new... campers are camping, and he starts to take his revenge out on them, of course, one by one. And that is basically the plot of your film. Yeah, this is one of those films, or my thoughts on this one. This is one of those movies that you know, I always have fun watching. I always have a lot of good times with this film. You know, okay, get into the positives of this film. Now, personally, I think the effects are really well done. Recently, I've heard people say that they find this movie to be really, really overrated. It's not Tom Savini's best work by any means. You know, I kind of beg to differ. I think the effects in this film are really well done. The body count's not overly huge. And in fact, you know, 5 of the kills come in one scene. You know, so the kills aren't actually overly spread out in this film. Like I said, the body count, I think, with Cropsy, spoiler alert, but of course, you know, I think it's only about 10 in this film, like I said, and 5 of the kills happen all in one scene. Now, of course, that famous scene is the raft scene. I think it's really well done. I really like how it was filmed. And I do kind of like the fact that pretty much everybody on that raft dies a different way. I think that's pretty cool. You know, this movie's also featuring a very young Jason Alexander. I think Jason Alexander's character in this film is really good. I think he does a good job in this movie. And in fact, the acting overall in this film is really well done. Pretty much everyone does a good job. I did notice, I always notice things every time I view this film. You know, if you're watching like the scenes where all the kids are, you know, in the, I guess the eat house, I guess you want to call it, where they eat their lunch and breakfast and dinner and stuff. You can always pick out kids that are looking at the camera. I think that's pretty funny. I always pick out the quirkiest things in films, but you know, overall it's shot really well. I think they did on the Blu-ray release kind of, you know, take away that filter that was, you know, kind of hindered this film from previous releases and stuff. I don't know if they did that purposely on the releases, but towards the end of the film, it seemed like it was darker than it should have been, you know, because they were quite obviously filming during the day in the other, like in the DVD releases. But in this one, it doesn't look as dark, so I'm always wondering if they just kind of lifted that filter to make it seem like it was darker, but I don't know. If anybody knows what's up with that, just let me know. But yeah, The Burning, it's a fun film. It's a fun film. Like I said, you know, if there was one thing I really had to nitpick about this, I wish the kills were maybe just a few more. If you're gonna have a scene where you got 5 kills all together, maybe just have a couple more in there. I mean, the body counts, like I said, it doesn't seem like it's overly huge just because of that one random scene, but or I guess not a random scene, but it has a pretty decent ending. And this is one movie that I always like. Where was the sequel? I think it would have been kind of cool to have a sequel to this film. But at the same time, it's cool that it's a standalone film on its own too, I guess. It's been kind of plagued over the years as being like another Friday the 13th ripoff. I mean, you can always argue that, but I think it's or Friday the 13th ripoff. I know there's actually the whole thing with Mad Men. I guess Mad Men had I think it was Mad Men was being filmed at the same time as this movie. And Mad Men pretty much had the exact same storyline, and they actually had to change the entire script of their film because they found out about this film. I think that's how the story goes anyways, but yeah, I'm just kind of rambling on here. The Burning, it's a fantastic slasher. If you've never seen this movie, definitely check it out. I would give this one probably about an 8 out of 10 if I had to rate this one. It's a solid, if you want to break it into 5s, 4 out of 5. Yeah, it's good. It's got a great soundtrack, acted well, shot well. And another thing I really like about this movie is the setting and just the atmosphere. I think the setting it actually really does feel like a camp, and it does feel like they're on an actual, they're actually on a camping trip, and they're actually on like a real canoe trip and stuff. And that brings me to that scene, which I find is pretty funny too. The camping, or the canoe trip in this always makes me laugh. You just see like 6, 7 canoes going out there. Not one person's wearing a life jacket. I'm just like, it's funny to me. But anyways, like I said, I'm just totally rambling on here. I could talk about The Burning all day, but that is basically the breakdown of it. Week 36. Of course, I'm your host, Moon616. Thank you for watching and supporting this series. Yeah, leave comments if you've seen it. I'd like to hear your opinions on The Burning, if you like it or if you don't like it, or if you think it's overrated or whatnot. All comments are welcome if you're not a troll. Alright, peace out, homies.